And the story of outside the town of Marlborough starts in the setting of kitchen, where the frying onion is described. It is depicted really detailed and with a lot of sensory details to make us feel the smell and the taste of this onion. And this was done in order to distract us from the previous story and give us a sense of the setting. The narrator uses the word shibanitsa, which is long and has no meaning, to also distract us from the previous story. And this is the beginning of this chapter. This is about the food and the kitchen.
Yes, and after we are in the kitchen and the female figure appears. Her name is Breach. And we have a clear depiction of the way she's cooking and how she looks like, because the author even describes the freckles in her fingers and how her torso is moving when she's cooking. So here we see that it's a completely different story, and it has zero connection to the stories before, so we don't know yet. Is it a paratext or is it the novel itself? Then another character appears and he adds a commentary, but it's not that significant at this point because this character doesn't appear in the further pages of this paragraph. So every time and then someone is talking to us, but we don't know who's talking to us yet. And he says that every time you're reading this, new characters appear. And it might be confusing because one character might have different names. Just it depends on the state when she was doing something. For example, it's Jan's widow or the apprentice from the corn shop. So we have to remember the characters based on their descriptions of what they were doing, somehow like this.
So you don't have any expectations about the ending of this setting story? Yes.
At this point, it's hard to say because before that we read 2 stories so far, and we don't know what happened to them yet because now we're reading a different story. So who knows, maybe we'll not come back to the story again.
Okay, understood. And then the narrator tells us about the kitchen at Kudgiva that seemed to be made deliberately and was operating all the time because all the time somebody was cooking or seasoning or eating there, and it was if somebody went away, others came. And the person that was there is Mr. Cowder, who had arrived night before with his son. This person was going to take this narrator to his estate to learn him the working of a new drying machines imported from Belgium. This was going to be his first and long trip away from his hometown, and the son of this Mr. Cowderer, Ponko, was the youngest of the Cowderers, who would stay with them to acquire the techniques of grafting rowans. And then the narrator tells us about the smells and noises in his house to illustrate and to delve us into the atmosphere of his house to show that he is going to miss this place and that everything will be changed, and he will be changed when he will be back because he is going for a long trip, and nothing will be the same as it was, even himself.
Yes, and here we see the clear parallel between the readers and between the character, because the character is leaving his place and he don't know will he be the same when he will come back or not, just as the readers, because we're reading this story and we don't know what will happen. We are opening the pages, and when new page opens, we are kind of going towards the unknown, and we want to know more. He says, to the drive to break away from it, to run towards the unknown, to turn the page far from the ridiculous order of Shrubnitsa, to begin a new chapter with a new encounters in the endless sunsets beyond the agate. So basically, when we read the first parts of the story, we read about the onion, and we didn't want to read about the onion because we wanted to know the ending of the previous story. And we were reading the first part of this chapter very fast in order to get to the characters. Just as the character himself is running towards the unknown.
Okay, and then settings are happening in the bedroom of the narrator, where we are presented to the portrait of the girl with short cropped black hair and a long face that emerged from the Ponko's little tongue. This moment we see that the narrator is imagining his switch with the places with Ponko, because they had said nothing to each other except hello, and he followed him and watched really carefully his all actions. The narrator was calling the Ponko an outsider to show that he is like not from this place. It is not his room, and the outsider was taking place, the narrator's place, his cage, his stereoscope, his things, all the things that narrator has couldn't take with him to another place. So, and then the narrator is talking about the girl. He asks